Yeah, hello guys, and today I'm doing this, and it's like a really special video, and it's called Marvel The Origin Stories, Spider-Man and Iron Man. So you get to find out the origin stories of Spider-Man and Iron Man. So, of course, this is obviously the front. Here's the side, Marvel The Origin Stories, Spider-Man and Iron Man. And then it says on the back here, Marvel Spider-Man. Peter Parker isn't an ordinary teenager just like me, annoyingly. Like, who likes being ordinary? It's boring. Yet who lives with his aunt and uncle in New York City. Yeah, but one day a bite from a radioactive spider changes his life forever. Can Peter harness his new webtastic powers and become a superhero? Marvel Iron Man. When businessman Tony Stark puts on his armour and he becomes Iron Man, but before he became a superhero, he was a brilliant inventor. One day an enemy army attacked Tony. How did he escape and become the invincible Iron Man? Well, I don't know. That you'll find it out in this story. 2016 Marvel. So let's open it up. Yeah, and first we start with Spider-Man. Spider-Man first. Yeah, so there's. Oh, I'm not going to read all that up there, but you just get the idea, don't you? So, yeah, there's Peter Parker there, looking a bit sad, because he usually would, and that's him before he gets his superpowers. And that's Flash Thompson there with his other bullies, and he's like, ha, look at him. And then Peter Parker does quite well in science, and he's always very kind to his family, and that's how ordinary he is. And he comes to school and he says hi to the bullies, and Flash doesn't care, and he laughs at Peter, and he sort of pushes him over, and then that makes him drop all his school books. And then Peter just goes to the demonstration on his own, to the science lab. And there he is at the science field trip, and this is where the magic happens. So there he looks very excited, like ordinary, about all the other people in the background. There's a spider up there, and there's the spider descending a little bit. And the rays, and they're firing radiation rays. And then when they're about to fire, the spider got inside it and turning that radioactive. And as it was dying, it went. There you go, there's the rays firing. And as it went down, there's a spider there. It went down to Peter Parker's hand there. And now it's going to bite him. And then now he starts to feel faint. Yet faint and obviously not very well. And that's Peter Parker coming out of the science zone just wanting to go home. And he's got a sense in his mind. He has. Well, there's a car that's about to run him over. Entangling his mind, it's spider sense. And, yep, already the bite has given him superpowers. Yes. Yeah, the radioactive spider bite gave him superpowers. Yeah, web crawling, web shooting, and then spider sense and super strength and fast speed and fast reflexes and other agilities, like other powers and things. He kept climbing higher and higher and putting one hand above the other. And there he is climbing the buildings already, because of course that's what Spider-Man can do. And there he is looking at that boxing person. Defeat Crusher to get $1,000. And he just rushes home there doing that. Oh, and you know what? Spider-Man was going to test his new powers, yes. Well, he wanted to do the boxing, because he wanted to test his new superpowers, didn't he? And he actually managed to win, look. And then he tested more of his superpowers, like the things coming from his sort of wrist. And he came up with a really nice name, the Amazing Spider-Man, look. Yet there he is in his built costume, or made it. Yet Peter's TV appearances were a huge hit, and everyone amazed by the Spider-Man. And there he is by getting really popular fans and in the Daily Bugle. Yeah, look at that kid there. And Spider-Man seems to be a vigilante or a superhero there, doesn't he? Yeah, this is where Uncle Ben dies, apparently, by the police. Peter put on his costume. And then he also wants to get revenge on Peter on the, Uncle Ben's killer. Look like he is there. And obviously now Spider-Man's sad there because Uncle Ben died. Yeah, and that day was the rule that Peter Parker lived by from that day forward, yes, and he's still Spider-Man. And now we can move on to Iron Man now. And you'll find out why he's got different armour on there. Yeah, this is Iron Man. He's one crime-fighting machine and he can fly. And powerful beams of energy from his hands. And he's invincible to an enemy attack. Well, that's not true because he's not invincible at all. Yeah, Superman's invincible, but unless you have kryptonite. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, and here he is fighting his enemies. Yeah, the Titanium Man and the Ironmonger. Yes. Yeah, look at him fighting them. Really good, isn't he? Yep. It says, but Iron Man's arm wasn't always like this. It wasn't always sleek or this powerful, and he wasn't able to defeat enemies this easily. And in fact, when he first became Iron Man, his armour didn't even shine. Yet this is his classic Mark 1 armour, and this is sort of Mark 3 armour sort of look. Yeah, and here's Tony Stark. Yeah, and he's actually a billionaire if you didn't know that, really rich. And he goes to different countries, look. Yeah, and he's a brilliant inventor, isn't he? And he obviously makes those things. Now here's the origin. So one day he went to a different country, and then there was an army attack, and then Tony Stark was seriously hurt by a huge explosion, and there he is there hurt, and yet exploded. And then there was some rescue people that came to sort of, I don't know, a prisoner and brought him back to the cave in the camp, and they kidnapped him. And eventually woke up, and he was in a cave, wasn't he? And he met another scientist called Professor Yunsen, didn't he? So, yeah, so that's Yunsen. And then guess what they do? Yet they say they want them to make a bomb, and that they refuse it, and then instead of that they make Iron Man Mark 1, don't they? And then the two men, or the men, sort of start working on the armour, don't they? Because you can see, like, he's working on the sort of part there, and he's like, yeah, this is what it's supposed to look like, and sort of, yeah, this is what it's supposed to look like. And then there you go. When finally the men completed the armour, and this is what they made. Using Chinese repulsors, they built boots that could help him fly. Gloves that could crush steel. And a helmet that could protect a man from the most terrible blast. Tony put on the armour. And proved that no walls could hold the incredible Iron Man. Look at him there, coming out of the cave and getting the enemy soldiers. Having escaped from prison, Tony flew back home. Yes. And then every day when he said, "Oh, we got to come here and things," on the news, Iron Man came there and he said, "Oh, people said, oh, he's a bit too scary, isn't he?" Yeah. And he sort of saved people every day. And then Iron Man thought for a moment, didn't he? And he said, "Yeah, I think I should make my a bit more sort of stylish and smooth." And he created a lighter suit with all that stuff. Oh yeah, there's his arc reactor. And then all he needed on his chest plate was like something red and gold. Tony perfected his armour, and the indestructible Iron Man was born again. So as you can see, it's the red and gold armour, isn't it? And obviously there he is fighting more enemies. Like, he protects people around the world. Yeah, and he also runs his company Stark Industries, doesn't he? Yeah, and Tony is always ready to put on his mighty armour in his suitcase and everything. Yeah, and become the invincible Iron Man. Look. Yeah, Stark. And there you go, that's the end of the book. So, yeah, I hope you like this book of the origin stories of Spider-Man and Iron Man. So, there we are. And I hope you learnt a little bit too. So, make sure obviously like and subscribe. And stay tuned for more videos by me, and peace out.